Irish fans. Like, we're not cocky about many sports in the world, but we were starting to get a little bit away ahead of ourselves about rugby because we were starting to win some things.
What's a more important game for the Irish rugby team this year? This match here against France for the Six Nations title, or the All Blacks in Chicago?
For me, I'd say that New Zealand game would be more important. We have to get as many wins as we can against the All Blacks, before they get unbeatable again.
DSPN, the Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
Six Nations rugby this weekend, and it all comes down to this. Yes, I know there's another round to go, obviously, but Ireland versus France. Ireland unbeaten. France have just lost that one game to England. Pat McCarry from the Irish Independent and also Rugby Pass, good old mate, joins us again. Hello, son. How are you?
Yeah, great. Yeah, thanks for great to be chatting to you guys again.
Well, this is afternoon rugby at your place. It's 3:15 Sunday morning hours, and so I think for a lot of us what we do is we cheat a little. We turn the phone off, we press record on the remote, and then wake up and have breakfast and watch it, which is just beautiful. But we've had some afternoon rugby here with Super Rugby, and look, I know that, for all of us old coots, we've been saying play the games in the afternoon. We admire the fact you still do up there. What a cracking encounter and occasion to look forward to this is.
Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. Like, yeah, I suppose all the way through, even before the championship started, it was kind of earmarked as this was going to be the game that would decide everything, and it's looking like it's going to turn out that way. So, yeah, as you kind of said, like everybody will, the bars will open. They'll have a couple of 2 or 3 hours to get themselves lubricated, and and then it should be a great atmosphere. And then just two teams that are going to be going hell for leather against it, each other. Anton Dupont and Gibson-Park, even the battles within battles are going to be fantastic. So, it should be great. And then plenty of time for guys to kind of reminisce and commiserate and slag each other in the pub afterwards as well.
Yeah, good post-match afterwards. I mean, you mentioned those two guys, and look, on form at the moment. I mean, we've obviously got Cam Roigard. We love him down here. The South Africans have put their hand up, of course, but those two halfbacks at the moment, what we've seen out of the Six Nations, they're both in such brilliant form.
Yeah, they're brilliant. Like it's, I was looking up. I was chatting to Jemison before the tournament started. Got to meet up with him and sit down and have a coffee with him. And he's a guy who I was actually saying to him, it feels mad now that he didn't even go on that Lions tour in 2021 because he had broken into the Irish side at that stage. So I think everybody would agree he's the guy who's going to start for the Lions down in Australia this summer. Touch wood, touch anything else you want, just to kind of hopefully, if he avoids injuries, like because he's in fantastic form and he's all of a sudden added this kind of extra defensive element to his game as well. So, we all know what he's capable. And then the other guy who's just, happens to be coming back from trying sevens rugby out with a gold medal around his neck and sevens rugby player of the year as well. Like, so Dupont is kind of, that's what I would kind of say to a lot of people. I would say Ireland would have the edge, or like 6 times out of 10, Ireland might win this game. But when Dupont is involved, like anything can happen because he's that good.
It just occurred to me, so before we actually get more into this, what's a more important game for the Irish rugby team this year? On every level, in terms of fans, administrators, in terms of the players, this match here against France for the Six Nations title or the All Blacks in Chicago, what's more important?
Yeah, that's an interesting. I suppose if I would say the All Blacks again, like, and I thought, like, we had spoken in the past as well that it looked like Ireland had finally kind of got that monkey off their back, and like there was a genuine rivalry between the two countries there now. Like, but the fact that the All Blacks have beaten us in the World Cup quarter final, and then we were expected to kind of have the chip on our shoulder when they came over last November, and they just played cup rugby against us again, slowed it down. Kind of outfought us, and came away, stole their lunch, and kind of walked out of Dublin as winners again. So for me, they've got the edge again there. So I would hate to kind of slip back into those 111 years without ever having beaten them. So it's easy to kind of I would kind of think at this period, this generation of players we have to get as many wins as we can against the All Blacks, before they get unbeatable again, like, because they're capable of that. So, for me, I'd say that New Zealand game would be more important. But that's still kind of the idea of winning another Grand Slam would be incredible. But that's my own personal bias.
All right, I mean, since 2016, I think the stats are 5-5, aren't they? I mean, it's a real rivalry now. But let's go back to how Ireland are playing. So the Autumn Internationals last year, this is the view, I think, the kind of the majority view down here is that weren't that impressive during the Autumn Internationals, have gone into the Six Nations, looked really good at times in parts, like, racking those 21 unanswered points against England before the last couple of tries. Against Wales, obviously switched the team around, did just enough to win. So, how do you assess where this Irish team is at? Are they at the peak of their powers like they were going into the Rugby World Cup? Have they come down a level? Are they coming back to that level? Where are you at?
Yeah, there was genuine kind of concern back in November, because I think there was the spectre that Andy Farrell was stepping away to look after the Lions. So, when we lost that game to New Zealand, I kind of wrote a piece for Rugby Pass at the time saying that we were one more defeat away from being into a disaster, but they got it back together. Argentina very nearly beat us in the very next game then as well, and then we were fortunate as well to beat Australia. There was it was funny. Andy Farrell had tough questions at the end of those games, and it felt like to me, from a person who was kind of fortunate enough to live in New Zealand, a good few years back, I kind of knew what it was like to you kind of get used to winning, and when you're not winning all the time, and when you're winning but not playing well, you get it in a year. And Andy Farrell was kind of probably shaking his head saying,
we're still
winning.
Went
to South Africa, we've drawn a series, we've won a Six Nations and we've won 3 out of 4, and I'm getting it in the neck here.
That's what happens when you raise the bar, though, Pat, isn't it? You see the expectations go up. I think that's actually a compliment to the team, because now this is what the expectation is, and that's what the All Blacks have every single game: play well and win well.
Yeah, that's it. And it's there's no off days. There's no kind of you can even see what Ireland do. They might filter in 2 or 3 young players as well, but it's this experienced core. They always have the kind of the 9, the 10 that they kind of want to play. The 8 is there as well. And they always have someone strong in the centres as well. And then you just bring in other people around them. But that's it. And it did feel like that. Yeah, again, we've got up to what New Zealand were like. And sometimes the fans went to that All Blacks game back in November and thought that, because we were at home, we had their number again and we were going to get revenge, and it didn't happen again.
Right.
And then there was a bit of stick for the atmosphere in the ground wasn't that great as well. And it was oh my God, Irish fans, we're not cocky about many sports in the world, but we were starting to get a little bit away ahead of ourselves about rugby, because we were starting to win some things. And I'm sure we had the Welsh kind of complaining about our attitude before we played them, and the Scots often complain about that as well. But it's a great place to be, and that's as you kind of said, when the team are as good as they are, you kind of just really want them to press home, with that advantage that they have.
Yeah, and that's what's frustrating for us All Black fans at the moment. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the Six Nations game, and. So this is the real yardstick for Ireland, isn't it? So, and is it just a case of however we win this game? Is that the case? It doesn't matter about playing; it's more about result this game, or is performance as well?
For this one, probably more results. It's I think fans are a lot happier with how the last 3 games have gone. As you said, tough start against England, but really kind of drove it home in the second half. Blew Scotland away, and then changed a few things up, but had the kind of the 20-minute red card against Wales, and it just really fired up Welsh team and an amazing atmosphere. So the rugby has been good, but on an occasion like this, I think Ireland you'd take a kind of a scrappy 1-point win any way you could get it as well. So that's it. But at the same time, I suppose some players will be kind of eyeing up, they'll want to up their own kind of performance levels. I suppose even look in the second row. Someone like Joe McCarthy has so much potential as well, but he's always given away a couple of sloppy penalties as well. So if you can kind of cut that out, everybody has an eye on the Lions tour as well. So if he can cut that out, he should be kind of on that plane to Australia. And there's a few other guys who are going to be thinking like that as well. But for the fans, you would take a scrappy win, because everybody's kind of fearful of Dupont, and then it's not even Dupont; it's this back 3 they've assembled now, and Billy Barry and kind of even. Adisoibi as well. So just these class operators and a big old pack that they're bringing, and all the debate's going to be are they playing a 6-2 bench, a 7-1 bench? We know they're a tough team, and especially if Ntamack is back and Ramos is back at fullback, they're nearly at full strength. So I think most Irish fans and pundits would take a scrappy win. And if we get a scrappy win, then we'll complain afterwards about the performance. But we want the win first.
All right, there's a couple of other games, obviously. England play Italy and Scotland up against Wales, and Wales will be eyeing that one up. They've got them, and then they've got the old enemy, of course, at home. As far as France go, though, what and how do you think that they'll play? Because, their game against Italy ended up turning into a really lopsided basketball score. And then you look at the way that England overcame them, when I thought that perhaps they were just a little reckless at times, that they didn't really protect the ball enough. And this match should be, what I call a classic test match, where it's just simply about moments and games and errors and who punishes those errors and who does the most basic things right. That's from this hemisphere, I think, what we're expecting.
Yeah, it'll be like that. I think what Irish fans are kind of looking at is that if you looked at those first three games, even like France should have beaten England. I think they botched like three genuine guilt edge.
Dupont dropped the ball, which is just so weird, wasn't it? Yeah.
I actually was listening back to an old interview that James Lowe gave, and they were saying they used to go back and try and pick flaws and holes in his game. And they said they had to go back to a Casa game that he played when he was only 19, where he made a few mistakes. Yeah. And so it's so rare to kind of find him making mistakes, and it's almost like something you have to go back and pause the TV if you're lucky enough and go back and say, did that actually happen, or was it a bad pass? And so there's a few of them where they really should have finished England off. But in all three games, they've had a big pack and they've tried to push teams around and wear them down. And poor Italy, that's what happened to them in their last game out. And Wales kind of gave it a good 30 minutes and then couldn't stick with the meter. And there's this weird new thing where France are dropping on 6 or 7 big lumps of lads. And it's almost like
the bomb squad.
The bomb squad, I think, is what everybody's saying. So that's what Ireland, do Ireland kind of try and counter that with a 6-2, or do they just, what Andy Farrell would normally do is say, we're going to stick with what we kind of believe in here. So it was interesting, like Jamie Osborne was up for interview today, with the media, and that would kind of give you an indication that maybe they are going to go for a 5-3 split as well. But yeah, as you said, it's going to come down to these moments. I remember, a couple of years ago, when Ireland played them and beat them, but Mac Hansen looked like he was going to score in the corner, and Dupont just picked him up and lifted him away, away from the try line. And so there's all these little moments like that, and it's like you would be fearful, I suppose, because I suppose as an Irish person, because they've got such a big pack, Melvaka and Aldrit and stuff like that, just such big units, and the guys that they have in the Miafu and stuff as well, they can just throw these big absolute lads the size of Will Skelton, they're going to throw at you as well. And then they have this kind of magic in the back line as well. So Ireland, they're going to have to they know it's going to be a big physical challenge as well. As you said, it should be an absolutely classic test match where the first 40-50 minutes should be a bit of an arm wrestle, and then see if the bench has decided, because Ireland's been fortunate. They've kind of had this quality bench that's kind of decided games for them in the last while. So Ireland could have an edge there, and that could be the winning of the game.
DSPN.